Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Mondays. This is episode 50. Now I know it's been a while since I've done a Mordian Mondays, guys, but there's just been so much going on with 9th edition, just information bombardment, plot twists and turns and new releases and new rules and things that it's just been, man, I just basically wanted to focus down on the tactics and focus on the new releases and new rules of 9th edition. We've smash out a couple of battle reports. I think there's 4 between the Mordian Glory channel and our brother channel, Schola Progenium. So we've been really getting the games in, getting the tactics in, getting the distillation going on. And now we've got a better idea of 9th. We can sort of ease off on the accelerator a little bit and, start including some of these more fun videos again, like Mordian Mondays, some of the hobby, introduce a bit more of the hobby aspect back into the channel. So for those of you that may be new to Mordian Mondays, this is a very casual video. It's just where I basically shoot the breeze for 15, 20 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer, and I cover all sorts of wargaming related things. And so sometimes it will be 40k related, sometimes it will not be 40k related, and yeah, it's just anything goes, and it's basically just something for you to listen to whilst you're painting away. It's listening to hobby whilst you're doing your hobby. So there you go. Now we'll jump straight into it today, guys. As you can see, I've got some videos up, some pictures up here of some bolt action miniatures which I have been working on this week. So really exciting news. I'm getting really into the bolt action now, really into the World War II history. I always sort of dabbled a little bit, just amateur style in the World War I, World War II history, but bolt action is really fired up my interest in that just whole period of history, and I was learning so much about it, and it's just really, really good. And what's also really exciting is there's a large amount of us are diving into bolt action at the same time, which is really cool. So I'm going to have an active gaming group to play this game with. Originally, how it kind of worked is like a year ago, my brother actually got me into bolt action, but I sort of dabbled with the Soviets a little bit, but wasn't that into them, and then I left it for about a year, and then I've sort of come back to it now, and I'm just really going in with the Japanese, the IJA, the Imperial Japanese Army, and it's really good because I basically sort of got into it again now, and I have a couple of I've got my brother and his mate that I can just play with anytime I want, but I've also been just feeding the propaganda images to one of my close friends, like who plays 40k, and I'm just like, you want to try some of this but action stuff, man, because he's getting a bit frustrated with 9th edition. It's not exactly everything he thought it would lived up to be, and so he bought a bit about action, and he's got really into it, and now he is basically conscripted, not consistent to my word, but he has sort of introduced this game just from the hobby point of view. Hey, cool, look at these cool World War II minis. And I think there must be almost 10 people who have jumped into it now. And they've all put the money where their mouth is. They've all bought some start collecting sets for action, which is absolutely fantastic. So we get, we've got a group chat and everything, and everyone's just posting pictures. It's great. And it's really good. And it's a feeling that I've not had in a long time, because my main focus has always been 40k. 40k until I die kind of thing. And but the thing is that I've been doing 40k for so long now that I'm kind of just used to it, and when someone else gets into the hobby, it's great, and I can try and guide them and mentor them, or just give them some friendly advice. But I've already had my excitement. What the fuck is this? What's going on? This looks amazing. I wonder why that. This is amazing. I've already had that bit. I had that many years ago. With bolt action, it's a new game. It's, whoa, what does this do? What's the difference between the Type 38 rifle and I think it was the Type 98 rifle? I can't remember so many different names for the Japanese weapons, and it's like, what was the difference? Why was the Type 92 machine gun seen as not very good, and all this kind of and what about these cool miniatures? What about these riflemen? What about these support teams? And I'm having that exciting discovery phase. But what's even better is when you have that exciting discovery phase with somebody else. And you sort of messaging each other like, oh my god, I just read about this cool combo that the Japanese can do with with the bamboo spear fighters. And it's like, oh wow, I just read about this cool combo that my Brits can do with up and at them. And it's like, oh wow, and we were just constantly messaging and, oh look, I built my first models, and it's just so nice to have that feeling again, to be excited, to not know all the tactics. Because one of the problems with 9th edition is because I know 40k very well, well, with Warhammer 40k, and because I know it very well, is because I can sort of see something and sort of instantly go, yeah, that's good, or yeah, that's bad. And it's, you know, this is not me blowing my own trumpet, but the point is that, like, it doesn't take, you know, there are some things which surprise me. I don't know everything. I would be very arrogant if I did say I did. But by and large, you know, same shit, new edition kind of thing. Whereas for action, it's totally new. It's totally exciting, and we're all learning it together. And no one in the group has really been doing it before, so we're probably all making mistakes of building our armies, but that's fine. That's cool. You know, I probably should be putting SMGs on all my, you know, all my sergeants, on my NCOs, but I'm not that bothered. I'm just like, yeah, rifles, swords. You know, let's get some samurai lads running around with some katanas. You know, it's cool. It's Japanese. It doesn't have to be super serious all the time. It can just be fun. It's a new game, so that's really exciting. And so I do highly recommend Bot Action. I've played a few games of it. And I've been that was a while ago, and I've refreshed myself with the rules, and it's a really fun game. Now, one of the things that, and I've said this before, if you're sort of seeing these miniatures and you are, you know, your interest has been piqued, then what I would say is definitely go and check out Warlord Games. Definitely go and check out some of their getting started. They're not called Start Collecting, they're called getting started deals. They're unbelievable. They put Games Workshop to shame, and so, for example, in like the getting started set with, I think with the British, or with any getting started set, you get a box of infantry. Now, straight up, it's like 30 guys, 30 guys. That's in your getting. Not one squad. That's 3 to 6 squads. If you want 5-man or 10-man squads, so that's pretty good. Then you get like a couple of support teams, and you might get a little vehicle as well. And you get the rule book. I think you get either a couple of support teams or a vehicle. So you basically get, you know, a big block of infantry and either some support teams or a little vehicle. You know, something special. And you get the rule book, the main rule book, which is a hardback rule book. Very, very, very thick rule book, and you also get your codex, and you get some dice as well, and you get all that, and it's like £55. So if you compare that to what Games Workshop, which is you get a squad and a vehicle, if you're lucky, maybe like, you know, a squad and, you know, a 10-man squad and 3 jet bikes, something like that. That's pretty poor, isn't it? When you think about that. I mean, if you compare it to Bot Action, it's like, wow, you get the books. You know, the book itself is worth 20 quid. Okay? It's such a good deal. It's such a good deal. You can build a Bot Action arm. If you go with a getting started set, and then maybe spend another £45, including, you know, if you know, and then, you know, maybe, yeah, that's probably more than enough than you'd have to spend. You could easily get yourself a 1,000-point Bot Action army, and 1,000 points in Bot Action is the equivalent of 2,000 points in 40k. So you get yourself a full Bot Action army, and you're probably only going to spend about £100 on it, which is pretty reasonable. And one of the great things that I love, and this is one of the things that when we spoke about, what I spoke about a few months ago when Games Workshop announced yet another price hike, was that I feel like I cannot go out and experiment and do just random projects. I feel like it's so expensive that I really have to be careful with what I'm purchasing. And some of you may know I am doing a secret project for 40k. I'm trying to get another army for the channel up and running. I'm not giving any hints what it is, but it's so difficult because even when I'm buying stuff from like third-party discount retailers and getting it for like 20% off, it's still so expensive. It's still so expensive. And I'm buying this army because I want to do it for the channel because I want to have some variety and some cool different stuff. I'm really putting some effort into that. I've got the Krieg out, we've got the Mordians done, we've got GC. We're getting loads and loads of armies built up for the channel, and this is sort of last one. It's one of the last ones that is going to plug the gap. Maybe one more after that, and then we're kind of done for branching out. We're just going to focus on all the Mordian restoration that we can get our hands on. But my point is that it's so damn expensive, and for the cost that I'm going to be putting into this secret project army, I mean, I could probably get 3 to 4 bot action armies. So when you think about that, when you want to start collecting bot action, or you start getting into bot action, you're like, oh, I just really love that. Let's just you pick your first army and you put your love into it, and you build it up. And then that's like your serious army. Like, this is the one that I concentrated on when I was building. And you spend maybe £100 on it. Great times. And then you go, I just want to recreate Enemy at the Gates. Let's just get loads of Russian conscripts. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah. So, that's only like £100. That's only another £100. Oh, that's quite good. Well, we want those Russian conscripts to fight a German army. And it's like, oh yeah, I can do that. That's another, at most £100. About £100. And the point is that it's not £100 is not an insignificant amount of money. It's a lot of money. And you wouldn't get £100 and just throw it out the window, would you? You wouldn't do that. But the point is that it's not at the same time totally breaking the bank. You can if you can spend if you're fortunate and you can just drop £100 in one go, great. But even if you're not fortunate, you can over time build up an army, and it's not going to break the bank like it would do if you wanted to get into 40k. You could maybe spend a year, maybe a year and a half, just trickling up. Buying a weapon team here, buying a weapon team there. Because the great thing about bot action, it's like they've got the old school blister packs, and those blisters are like between £4 and £7. It's like nothing. It's not nothing. But the point is, especially if you're like a kid, you're relying on your pocket money, your allowance. I don't know how much you get. I've not had pocket money in a long time, but maybe you save a couple of weeks. You save a week, you can get yourself a little blister. Maybe you can only afford to buy one little thing a month. Well, if it's Games Workshop, that one little thing, even if it's a single monopose character, it's still going to cost you like £20. Or you can be like, what? I'll just buy a blister pack from Warlord Games for bot action, and it's cost me maybe £4 for 5 characters. You see what I mean? I just think it's so much more accessible, and it's so much more accessible for those that have struggled with the barrier of entry of price with Games Workshop, and it's so for those of us that are fortunate enough to be able to really get into these hobbies, it's cheap enough where you can just let your creative juices flow. You can just let it flow, and you can just pick up lots of small armies and not worry about them being broken or the rules not being balanced, because bot action as a whole it's not a perfectly balanced game, but it's nowhere near out of whack that like 40k is. With bot action, you don't need to think about if I collect that faction, am I just going to be losing every game? It's like, no, you'll be able to make it work. And unlike in 40k, where it's like, well, let's just play Space Marines, because if we don't, then we might as well not be taking part in the competitive game. It's like literally compared to 40k now, it's split into. It's almost like you've got the Formula 1 and the Formula 2. It's like Formula 1, that's all the Marines, and then everyone else gets to take part in Formula 2. Or maybe there's a better. I'm not a totally sports guy. Maybe it's like Formula 2 or Formula 3. I don't know, but that's what it feels like at the moment. Anyway, I know I've been absolutely just ragging on Games Workshop there, and I have just been absolutely bigging up the bolt action. But it's just fun, man. It's just a fun game, and I highly recommend anyone who's curious about it should just check it out. Just check it out, and just you might be surprised at how interesting it is. And you think Warhammer 40k has got expansive lore? Well, World War II history has got more lore than 40k ever will do. Like, there's so much stuff that went on, it's mad. Anyway, enough about bot action just in general. These so obviously I want to talk about, I just look, what I want to also talk about is some of the games that I've been playing. So I've been playing bot action and been trying that out, but I've also been dabbling with Lord of the Rings strategy battle games. I know. What's going on? I've just gone game crazy. I even played some Gaslands the other day. It's just I'm expanding my mind. I'm expanding my consciousness. Now I don't want anyone to worry, is Morning Glory going to just become like a generic hobby channel? Not at all. We're always going to be focused on the 40k. That's what we're here for. The Imperial Guard for life. But in these Mordian Mondays, it's my chance to just like talk about non-40k stuff. So talk about some bot action. And I've also been playing, I played this weekend 3 games just back to back. Just let's just learn this thing. Lord of the Rings strategy battle games. And it was really fun. It was really, really fun. So I've bought a I've probably got about sort of 800 points of dwarves now, and they're old school dwarves, so they're not like the new ones from like the Hobbit or like from the Iron Hills. The old, like, they're called like Khazad-dûm or Doom. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but Khazad-dûm sounds pretty good. And they are basically the old like Moria dwarves. So you know, in Fellowship of the Ring, when they go through Moria and obviously all the dwarves got boned. Spoiler alert. Basically, they're those dwarves, and there's like 2 eras you can play as. You can play as like old, like ancient legacy dwarves, like which is Doran's folk. Like Doran was like the original OG badass dwarf. There's like loads of songs, and he's like a total folk. He was a legendary hero. And then you could also, or if you want to play, and he actually went to Moria and went and just kicked the goblins' ass basically. And his expedition was a success. And then, or you can play as Balin, who was the guy in the Fellowship who, you know, they found his tomb basically. And you can play as those guys. So those guys have obviously lost, but they have basically the same models, but they've got different rules. So like, what I've absolutely fallen in love, and I highly recommend anyone to go and like just check these models out. They're just so old school, awesome Games Workshop. Is I've fallen in love with the Khazad Guard. They're basically like the honor guard, the King's Guard of the dwarves, and they're really cool. And they're like super heavily armored. They're like Terminators, like in 40k. They are like your basic Khazad Guard guy has got like a defense stat of like 7. Now bear in mind, that's just with armor. He's not got a shield or anything. And to sort of try and compare it, like a basic human with like a shield will have like defense, you know, and like decent armor will have like defense 5. So these guys are like they are dead hard nails, bastards. They are just awesome. And I've just basically, they're actually really reasonably priced from Games Workshop as well. When I picked them up, it was like, I was like, whoa, Games Workshop selling a blister pack for £7 for 3 guys. That's actually an amazing deal. And I think they caught on to that because they've put them up a bit in price now. But I just went and bought like 12 of these Khazad Guard, and I basically just run them around like a death ball. And I just like the models. And what I basically is, there's very little there's a bit of strategy tactics out there for Lord of the Rings, but not that much. And basically what I did is I had like some basic dwarf warriors and like some dwarf guys with bows. But my main sort of block of absolute units, my Chad block, my death ball, was just like 12 of these like Terminators with Joran. Joran, who should be called like, he's not Jorin, he's Jorable. Like, he's just an absolute, you know, we talked about like a basic human having like defense 5 with a shield. He's just like defense 9. So he's just hard. He's just very hard. And he was just really good. And obviously, like, it was my first games, but my first games I played it. You know, the guy I was playing against, is Matt from Warlord Games, and some of you may remember he did a couple of battle reports with me sort of end of last year, some more competitive ones like knights and stuff, and he's getting me into the game and a few of others down at the club, and he basically took for the first game a very classic Moria Goblin army. So he took, there was like a baby Balrog, so it's not like a full-grown Balrog, it's like a little baby Balrog, it's like a Watcher in the Dark. And then he had just like a horde of gobbos. Absolute, veritable horde of gobbos. And he then had like the king, one of the king of the goblins, like a goblin, like it was like a special character like Goblin King. And he had one of the war drums, you know, like in Fellowship when like the Goblin war drum start goes like boom, 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 boom. We had like one of those. And he had some, there were like Warg Riders, but there was like 3 goblins on the back, and there's like a bat swarm. It was very classic, you know, goblins with some support characters and monsters. And I basically just marched my death, and the objective, like the game, like the first game was like to basically, it was like Relic basically. But you had to try and dig the relic up. So just because you got to it didn't mean you could immediately move it. You got to it and you had to like start moving it. You had to like roll a dice on a 4+ you could move it. And basically my dwarves like marched up in this absolute death block, just got onto the objective and just formed what I call the thin bearded line. But it was just a total, just like basically 2 ranks of dwarves and dwarf warriors just on this objective, and the goblin, and fortunately I could like anchor my flank with a bit of like impassable terrain, so the goblins couldn't like surround me, and this goblin horde just crashed into my dwarves, and my guys are dead hard, but they're not that killy. Like they've got big axes, but they've only got 1 attack each, and even with like big axes, they only kill someone sort of 50% of the time. So you know, think because it's the lethality of the game isn't anywhere near like it is in 40k. And basically what happened is I managed to dig the relic up and start walking away with it, and what my guards had to do, what my death ball had to do is just hold the line for as long as possible so I could just run off with subjects, because dwarves don't move very fast. So, and they just did it, and literally just as like the gaps started to like break in the line, the goblins started like pouring through and surrounding me and trapping me, and they started like working their way through the flanks and everything. Just as that started happening, I managed to get the objective far enough away where Matt would never be able to like capture it, and we were like, alright, fair enough, I've won that one. So I won my first game. And then the second couple of games were really interesting. The second game, I fought against like the Watcher in the Water, whatever it's called. The big tentacle monster that tries to get the Fellowship just before they go inside of Moria. That thing totally just like tore me to pieces. Like Joran, it just like snagged Joran in one of its tentacles, just like pulled him to pieces. It was just brutal. And my dice rolls just went totally south. It was insane. But the third game I played against basically like the Rangers of the North, and it was pretty close. It was like a draw basically. So like win, loss, draw basically from my first 3 games of strategy battle games, and I'm addicted. It's so much fun. So much fun. So you can expect some of these Morning Mondays we're gonna see some little dwarfy boys painted up. It's just great. It's just a lot of fun. So I also, it doesn't seem quite as broken as 40k. I think this is the kind of thing I wanna highlight. Like obviously, the Morning Mondays and the Morning Glory channel, we're gonna be all about them guard tactics. How can we get the best out of our army, out of our Imperial Guard army? But when you sort of take a step back and start looking at the other game systems that are out there, it's almost like I see through the lies of the Jedi, I see through the lies of the Inquisition, and it's like there are other games out there which they are superior to 40k. Like heresy. I know there are games out there which are far superior to 40k, but the communities just aren't there because 40k is like so dominating. It's so dominating. But, I would argue that Lord of the Rings strategy battle game, in many ways, is just superior. You know, bolt action in many ways is superior. They are different. You know, I'm not going to compare it to Gaslands because Gaslands is a totally different thing. But you know, there's something to be said for being able to turn up to your opponent's house with your entire army in a little plastic takeaway container because your army is 30 dudes and that's as big as it needs to be. You know, that's the case for bolt action. That's the case for Lord of the Rings. And then, you know, being able to turn up for a game of bolt action and you playing, oh, I brought my Russian horde, and it's 60 to 70 infantry and 2 vehicles in a Russian horde, and you compare that to 40k. If I want to turn up with a guard horde, you know, if I turn up with a normal guard army, I'm bringing 90 dudes from 5 vehicles. That's insane. Like 2 normal sized bolt action armies. If my bolt action Japanese army is going to have like 40 infantry, 30 infantry, couple of support teams. Well, not even going to say, just overall it'll be 40 infantry and an armoured car and a light tank. That's the whole army. And you don't have to turn up with piles of dice, and you don't have to turn up with, 5 different books. There's one book, it's paper, it's wafer thin, and you've got 40 models. There is things to be said for that. Now, I've been ragging on 40k like super hard this video, and I don't want people to think that I'm getting like salty and going off 40k. I'm not. I love 40k. 40k is like, it's so cool, but it is good now and then to go and almost like have a little cleanse, have a little, bathe yourself in some like indie games with, bathe yourself in some like other games out there which aren't 40k. Because then when you come back to 40k, you can appreciate that game system, but you can also go and appreciate other game systems. So it is what it is. It's I guess with the, I guess it's just with the, what's been happening with, the event, with COVID-19, I've been able to sit at home and be able to explore the game systems, and it's nice. It's really nice. I highly recommend it, guys. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there because I've talked about loads of random stuff and we're coming up to half an hour. I mean, I'm still interested in doing like, a bolt action battle report every now and then on the channel. Maybe once a month, bolt action battle report. If that sort of, if we do like maybe 1 in 5 battle reports, maybe not even that popular, but just do every so often, have some bolt action content, and just for the fun. I think what we'll probably do is Mondays will be the casual day. So either it'll be a Mordian Mondays, or it will be a bolt action day, or it'll be bolt action battle report, or Lord of the Rings battle report. Mondays are the casual Mordian days. Let's chill. Let's start the week nice and chill, and then the other days can be just hardcore 40k content. I think that's a good way of doing it, nice and balanced. One other thing I need to address. I know I haven't been doing the live streams for the last few weeks. I will be continuing with the live streams because I know they've been very popular. I'm probably going to shorten them down a little bit, down to like an hour. Because what we were finding is we were sort of playing a game for like an hour and switching to another game for an hour. I think what I'm going to do is just play one game for like an hour to 2 hours, hour minimum, 2 hours maximum. And then I will be shifting those. They won't be on Tuesdays anymore. And the reason for that is the gaming club that I'm part of is opening back up, and they host their nights on Tuesdays. So, and obviously I can't do both. So I'm going to move the live stream probably to Thursdays, just so you are aware. So on the more. Yeah, although the live streams are also like a casual thing. We'll see how it goes. The live stream may not be a permanent part of the channel. So we could, again, Monday could be a double doozy. We could do a Mordian Mondays or or other game battle report, or live stream. I guess I'd have to I'm going to have to figure it out, but one way or another, live streams are going to have to move away from Tuesdays. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please leave lots of comments. What do you think about bot action? What do you think about Lord of the Rings? And of course, I'll see you guys next time.